28-year-old woman working at a call center for a multinational company in Pune's Yerwada area was murdered in broad daylight. She succumbed to her injuries after being stabbed multiple times by a colleague in the office parking lot. The woman was rushed to a nearby private hospital in critical condition, suffering from excessive blood loss. However, despite efforts to save her, she died during treatment. The accused, identified as Krishna, confronted the woman as she was leaving for home around 6:30 p.m. that fateful evening. As per officials, a dispute between the two had taken place earlier in the day. The tragic incident was reportedly the result of a financial dispute. According to the police, the victim had borrowed around 4.5 lakh rupees from the accused over the last 2 years. The victim stated that she needed the money for her father's treatment. Meanwhile, Krishna Kanoja had to undergo eye surgery and he had been demanding the money back from the victim. The CCTV footage from the scene shows Kanoja calmly brandishing a cleaver as about 24 bystanders watch on. The victim collapsed on the ground in a pool of blood and still nobody intervened. She was seen lying on the ground in visible pain, and despite her attempts to defend herself, Kanoja continued to stab her multiple times, including on her right elbow. This eventually resulted in her death. This is a horrific incident that has taken place in Pune in Maharashtra. I'm going to open up this discussion. Joining me on the telecast is ACP Dhanraj Vanjari, who is a former police officer. ACP Vanjari, such a horrific incident that has taken place, sending shockwaves across the country, and particularly in the way this actually panned out. There were people who were standing nearby. These were eyewitnesses. They were recording a video of this horrific crime taking place in front of their eyes, but nobody did anything. It was perhaps of the fear that the man was brandishing a cleaver, that he could attack them as well, because as per the report, we are getting to know that as soon as the man dropped the weapon, the people who were passers-by, who were watching this incident, came to him and then beat him and thrashed him. How do we ensure that such incidents, such crimes do not happen? Can the police be present everywhere?
The concept of paternity in our constitution, this incident, no doubt, is very brutal, very horrible incident. But as horrible as the people watching thereby are busy taking the videos and not trying to protect the victim girl, if they would have protected, there are more than 35, 36 people in the vicinity. If they would have shouted at peak of their voice, they would have rushed to a person. At least few stab injuries, if they would have perhaps stopped, she would have survived. So incident horrible because of the psychopath accused. He is a psychopath. And I am sure in police investigation, there would be his psychological profiling, which under new BNS law would be appreciated in the court as an expert evidence. And there are so many circumstantial evidence and witnesses around. No doubt this psychopath would be convicted. But you are after all convicting and imprisoning a psychopath, not a common normal man. What was the possibility?
Here we see, there has been a history of financial dispute that has been reported, that this woman had been time and again seeking loans, borrowing money from this man to the tune of some 4.5 lakh rupees. And she was refusing to return the money. She was, buying time, saying that her father was ill and she needed the money for his medical treatment. And then this man found out after doing thorough investigation and finding out the father was absolutely fine. He was not suffering from any disease. He was not being admitted to the hospital. It is then, I'm assuming, he lost his temper and in a fit of rage, this crime has been committed.
In a heat of passion, he has committed crime. Well, that is understood. But if he feels that the girl has taken the money and not returned, and the illness of father it was just a pretense, so he would have lodged police complaint or would have taken some other courses to recover the money if at all he is interested in taking money.
As Vanjari sir very rightly said, even if that lady could have been saved from fatal 4-5 blows, maybe she could have survived with some minor injuries. So very rightly pointed out by Vanjari sir.
ACP Vanjari, there was a point that was raised by Advocate Chomal that people, passers-by, eyewitnesses sometimes refrain themselves from getting involved in crimes such as this, even road accidents, and because in the fear that they might just be made party to that accident or that crime that has taken place by the police. So they would rather stay away from it than to get entangled in it. How much truth is in this thought process, in this assumption that people make?
In this regard, I would say the assumption and thinking process of common man is outdated, and I would like to remind them through your channel, madam, that in Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, this new BNS law, it has been very clearly said that if a person helps any such victim, either in accident or such kind of brutal attack, will be given a status and will be considered for his act and that phase of time as a police officer. So everybody who is helping the victim will be doing the police officer's job. It is that clear. The consensus of the people, the timidity should wash out. That is the intention of our legislation. I think Naveen is there on the channel. He can be with my thinking. Yes, this is the crux of the issue. And people need to be educated. You are not supposed to just be a spectator and be a photographer. You can save a life. And in Constitution, it is said that paternity bandhuta is our essence of preamble. You don't consider any human as your brother. You don't consider any woman who is being brutally murdered in daylight might be your sister. Where the human consciousness has gone? Why we are not behaving like normal human? Well, the assault who made the accused is a psychopath. But are you all right? I would put this question through your channel to the entire spectator crowd. Are you also psychologically defected people?
Okay.
Why you are not helping?
Okay, all right. ACP Vanjari, that it's difficult to have checks and balances in place, especially when it's a parking lot that you have called this woman to, and then you could have kept that cleaver, that weapon in any part of the parking lot, and it would have gone undetected.
No, basically in this case, the girl must have trusted his version that come to and meet me. I want to have a talk on some different topic. Now, since the police is under investigation, we should not come to the conclusion. There might be some relationship between them. There might be some over anger, not only lending of money. There might be some other dimension. Generally, in normal course on lending of money, the people will not go that agree to kill a man or woman. But in this case, there might be some other dimension. Okay. Let the investigation be complete. Then only we can say about it. I'm not talking that. Yes. That I'm not talking because they are in relation. He has got the power to take the law in his hand. I'm not talking. Don't misquote. I'm not talking that. I'm talking let there be a complete police investigation in spite of putting on channel the hypothetical theories. Let there be concrete investigation, the fact-finding process. What exactly made him to lose his temper?
Thus far, we don't know.